The 2 Cent Report!
Good hello.
And welcome. I am 1 Cent Tristan.
And I am 1 Cent Justin. We're going to be talking about the games that we've played this week. Not many on my side. Many on his. Not really. So, you want to start?
Sure. Where do I start? So, I've been playing a lot of games. I haven't really been playing them to finish them. I've just been playing them to pass time. One of my favorites to pass time is actually Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's not the first time I've played the game. It's the first time I'm hoping to finish it though. Mainly because before I messed up my save so bad that I decided to restart. The game for me I find is pretty interesting. Have you played it?
This is the medieval one.
Yes.
No, but I remember watching some of it. And it looks kind of like, in a sense, quite on the more like sort of hardcore-ish side of things. Not like Dark Souls difficult, but like, simulation almost. Like it's not really I'm just going to quickly play for a bit. It's not, I'm going to do a round of Rayman Legends. It's more like, okay, I'm inhabiting a world. I'm like, wait, are you a crusader or something? What are you? Are you a knight?
You are playing a peasant named Henry.
Yes.
And you basically are the blacksmith's son in the town of Skalitz.
Okay, yes, I remember. Yeah, it sort of, it has that feel of being, I'm very much inhabiting this world. I'm like, it's difficult. What is it difficult? Is it like the gameplay difficult, or is it more just that it's very involved?
It's very much a thing that once you start, you need to stick to. Otherwise, you're going to lose your flow.
Forget what the hell the controls are.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It's also
like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, that's true.
Stop playing for a week and you go, this button was move foot.
yeah, exactly. And I would say mainly that, okay, I play for honor, so for me, getting used to the system wasn't very difficult. I could move into it a lot easier, but it's basically trying to turn combat into a game mechanic, but proper melee combat into a game mechanic, and it requires stances. Unlike for Honor, where you have the top, left, and right, now you've got top, left, top, right, bottom left, bottom right, and then you also got the middle, which is normally a jab.
I'm curious about the sort of combat. Does it slow down when they come at you, or is it just in full time?
No, they go at you. That's full time.
So you got to like sort of be like, okay, he's coming at me from like a left. I need to block with that, and then like a parry there and hit back.
This isn't a game for just if I get more levels, I'll just become stronger and eventually just have a bigger stick to beat them with. Yes. This is a game that requires you to learn the mechanics, and it's also something that it gets to newcomers a lot because you are weak, you are pathetic. You're supposed to be weak and pathetic to start out with, and you build your skills and you focus on the things that you want to focus on. You can be a skilled archer and a swordsman, but you might not be good so much with warhammers or axes, for instance. And it's all down to how you want to play your character, and most importantly, you got to learn the moves. You got to learn the combos. And yes, later on you do get a bit of an OP skill where you're able to parry and then attack them while they're defenseless, but you only get that later on.
Really, it is a game. You always kind of eventually get to the point where you have OP abilities. Like, even if you play something like Dark Souls, by the time you've gotten really powerful, regular enemies aren't, if you let them hit you, they'll knock down your health. But by then you've got you can hit them, kill them in 2 shots. You kind of are overpowered in comparison, especially if you go back to the early stages. That's the common thing. You go back to the first level and you're just
that's true.
And you just hit them and you're like, oh, you gave me trouble before.
No, exactly,
bitch.
and it is like that. It's also your strength.
Yeah.
You can't just try to cheat or something and then put on massive amounts of plate armor. It doesn't work like that. You have to be able to carry the plate armor.
Yeah.
If you can't carry it, you can't wear it.
If I remember, is it also the one where you don't really put levels in? If you use a skill, you get better at it. Is it like that, or do you put levels in?
You do put levels in. Oh wait, no, it's not so true. the more you work at a skill, the more you upgrade. The next level it goes to, you get a perk point.
Okay.
And you're able to buy perks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I always, whenever I think of systems where like you have to use an ability, like when you use it more, you get better at it. I think Oblivion had a similar system to that. But then Oblivion had level scaling matched to your thing. So I remember grinding out magic, becoming really good at magic, and then I walked out of a safe zone, and all of a sudden all the enemies were new enemies, and I couldn't kill any of them. And then I put it on easy because it was impossible.
No, it's definitely area specific.
Yeah,
like
I much prefer area specific because I don't want the whole world to scale with me. Like that doesn't even make sense.
No. You will find later on that it's easier. You know where to go and things like that. And what I wanted to say earlier was, it is difficult, and if you don't plan your engagements, you're gonna fall short. Like for instance, if you had to be somebody that decided they just want to go in, they're not going to scout anything, and you rock up thinking, oh no, it's one person, and then there's two people. The game is notorious for putting the first person in front of you, and then the other person flanks you, and there's no counter. You can put up your shield. If you get hit in the back, you get hit in the back. That's it. There's no protection or anything, and they will kill you.
Yeah.
Peasants with sticks in the beginning, if there's more than one of them and you can't focus one-on-one, they will kill you.
Yeah.
It's one of those where you learn how to fight or you die.
as you go.
I mean, there's a part where you literally just have to run away because there's no way you can fight because you're just a kid with a stick.
Yeah.
There's no way you're gonna win that fight, and you're fighting humans, and these humans are heavily armored.
I love games that genuinely let you run away.
Yeah.
Deus Ex, the first one.
Yeah.
You could be like, the boss comes along and he's just like, we're gonna fight now. And you go, no, and you just leave. And then he's just like, and then you fight him again later because he's not dead.
Yeah.
Or you can kill him early on and then he doesn't appear later. Like, I love just being able to be like, no, I'm just gonna leave because it's easier. I'll come back later. It's fine. Stalker's like that as well. You'll come across a mutant that's super powerful, and then you're just like, you know what? Never mind. Later. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go get other guns, and maybe come back. Because never mind. They're dangerous. They're scary.
They're very dangerous.
And I like the idea that sometimes things are just too powerful for you and you need to leave.
No, that's true. I mean, there's I've always liked the option, especially in free roaming games like sandbox games.
Yes.
Very much so. You can choose to leave if you don't want to fight anybody. You don't have to do all the missions. There is a story mission, but you can also go explore the world.
Yeah.
But in order to unlock the more OP abilities, you need to do the story mission.
Yeah.
And I will say this. I'm not very fond of the main character. I feel like he's a little shit.
A bit boring? Was he just a shit?
You start out as a kid that, you know, his father's a blacksmith, and back in those times, being a blacksmith meant something.
Yeah.
He had a certain amount of pride, and instead of helping his father work, he chooses to go to the tavern, hang out with his friends, and you get to experience that. And then he's very naive.
Yeah. And
then it's also one of those games where I feel like the dialogue that you choose doesn't really represent the actual dialogue that is said by the character. Okay. You know, like with Fallout.
Fallout,
like Fallout 4, where
it says angry.
It's suggestive.
It says something like angry, and then your character's like, I'll fucking kill you, and you're like, I didn't want to say that.
Exactly, and you know, some of it can come off a bit asshole-ish.
Yeah, so you don't intend to be an asshole, but you are. But I suppose that's also like real life. I mean, sometimes you say things.
No, true.
And then afterwards you go home and you go, God, I was a dick.
Oh no, it's horrible. But like there are like advancements, like they try to take literacy into account, that you can teach your character to read.
Yes, I found that a really interesting idea. Like you have to learn to read.
It's not that easy because the first 2 books are fairly simple. Just the words are jumbled, and you just have to if you just have to unjumble, then tell the scribe that's teaching you what you read.
Yeah.
The final book's a bit harder because it's in Latin. Now, if you don't know Latin, like me, you ended up going to a walkthrough to find out which was the correct answer, because I don't know Latin. I don't ever plan to learn Latin. And here's a book where I need to reassemble Latin words. That was fairly interesting.
It is interesting, though, because, I mean, you actually get to learn some Latin. You get to, I know a few choice phrases in Latin from my studies.
Exactly. And
Deus ex machina.
I mean, what's nice is once Latin. You unlock literacy, you're able to read, you can get books. And then some books take 4 days, some books take 2 hours to read. And after reading them, you'll get a skill point.
Okay. I really like that idea. The idea of actually, gamifying reading. Because most games is just be you found...
Are you serious? That's all games.
No, but you actually have to learn how to read it.
I mean, fair enough, but if you're talking about gamification of reading itself...
I'm saying most of the time you just you get a book and then it's skill point unlocked.
Yeah,
so
true.
You click read and it goes skill point unlocked.
Like the old...
You're now somehow stronger.
What's it? The Warcraft 3, when you have the tomes.
I love the tomes. It's nonsense, but it's great. I also like the idea that you're gonna middle of battle. Let me just quickly take out my book. Okay.
Oh yes.
Okay, I got the spell.
Something
now.
important to know. It doesn't have a pause function.
Okay,
Dark Souls. So you can't stop. Yeah. And another thing is eating and drinking also affects you. If you eat too much, you get stuffed, and then
okay.
It
so
slows down.
There's also overeating.
Yeah,
okay,
overeating,
most
drinking.
Games don't have overeating.
It's very realistic. You need your sleep.
Yeah.
If you want to do better socially, you need to go to the bathhouse and get a wench to satisfy all your needs, and you get perks and stuff. It's all environmental.
Yeah.
But I like the setting. I like the style. There are a few issues with it, but it's difficult to call them issues when the game itself is actually so ambitious.
Yeah, that happens. You get games which is just so interesting that you kind of you call it jank.
Yeah.
Like Stalker's a famous one like that, where you're it's really interesting. Doesn't work. The game itself doesn't work. You need to mod it to work.
Okay.
But it's so interesting that you're I forgive them for being not very good at making games.
I won't say that you need to mod it to make it work. You just need practice, okay? Most of the people get turned off by it because of its combat system.
Yeah.
And it feels so frustrating to not be able to do anything in fight, but that's justified because that's what they want you to feel because you're unskilled.
It kind of feels like something where it's not for casual gamers. It's very much for someone who's
yes.
I want a hardcore experience that isn't going to hold my hand, and it's going to be very much I'm now Nightman in shitty world, because they all lived in shitty times.
You got to wash your armor, keep your armor clean.
You see, but to me, getting into the fiddly stuff, say. Another game we're going to talk about later is New Vegas. I will not ever play survival mode. Because
I actually did.
I'm uninterested in it. I don't like sleeping and having to
it's not that bad.
Eat and stuff.
It's not that bad.
Did you also play it on the hardest difficulty?
No.
Okay.
But I also played it with mods, so it's not that bad. No, I got a camping outdoors mod, which allows you to sleep whenever you want to.
Okay.
Yeah, set it down a little campsite.
Okay. That kind of mod
makes sense. It's immersive.
It makes complete sense. However, the second Stalker game, I had to mod because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's broken. I remember I played 6 hours and I got to a point where I was shooting a guy who was standing 2 meters in front of me, and I kept missing his head. Anyway, I decided I'm gonna mod this, and then when I modded it said you can't use your old saves.
Oh,
So I was cool. Cool.
Never picked it up again, did you?
Yeah, no, I did. I eventually.
Oh, really?
No, about 6 months later.
Oh, okay,
I gave myself some breathing room. But there's a sleeping mod, so you can sleep, because also when it's nighttime, there's no way to skip nighttime. You have to just survive through the night. And it's at nighttime, it's super immersive and all this you can't see anything. Things come at you from literally any direction. It's horrible. So you'll be okay, I have this sleeping bag. You have to have the sleeping bag somewhere safe, because otherwise you will die. If you're like, I'm going to in the middle of the swamp, I'm asleep. So something kills you instantly.
It's still a bit realistic to that extent.
Except that it's also broken because you'll do it in a camp, and then all of a sudden, somehow a pig, like a mutant pig, got into the camp and killed you while you were sleeping and left everyone else alive. So sometimes that happens.
That's like Bacon's Revenge.
Jank.
Fair enough.
So I do like those kind of mods where you can be like, I'm going to sleep here, but I'm assuming the people who made the Fallout one are better at it than the people who made...
Oh, maybe. I mean, it was like, it's more open, with the creative engine. It was a lot easier to... The Embryo, sorry. Is it Embryo?
Yes.
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah. Either way, it was made easier to mod than I'm sure Stalker was.
Do you know about the new huge mod that just came out for New Vegas?
New Vegas? No.
It's a huge mod called The Frontier. Everyone was super excited about it. It's set in Colorado. It's a whole new place. They re-recorded lines. It's a whole new story. It's a total conversion mod.
Wait, released by Obsidian?
No.
Okay, it's a fan made.
Yes, but it took like 7 years to make. It was like a big thing. It was up. It crashed Nexus mods. And then it turned out that one of the people who's on it is maybe, into a certain version of porn that is not acceptable by certain people, and so the mod got taken down. 7 years of work, and then it's gone.
I mean, surely it's still there. I mean,
well, it was taken off Nexus mods.
Isn't it on Love Labs? Isn't it? Or was it Love Labs?
Oh, I don't know, but it was taken down by the team.
By the team?
Yes, the team took it down because they were like, we're going to first deal with this thing. Maybe replace the art made by this particular person so that there's no problems. And then we'll re-release it. But so far they've just pulled the page and they were like, sorry, you're going to just have to wait. But yeah, like super ambitious mod. New weapons, like that they made new weapons, they made new characters, all sorts of stuff. And it seemed really, really ambitious, and I wanted to check it out, and then I was like, oh, look, it got pulled.
You got pulled.
So, we'll wait for that one. But yeah, that's just... That was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
This is very, very recent. I've been hearing about the Frontier for ages, so... I was curious if you'd never heard of it.
No, and here I was like last week modding out New Vegas. But that thing, I missed it.
Yes.
I missed it, so...
And actually, there's a YouTube channel that I follow called Triangle City. And they have a series called... What is it called? It's all about New Vegas. But it's all about cut content from New Vegas, because New Vegas was like Obsidian was given 18 months to make New Vegas. They had to like cut corners everywhere, and this guy's like YouTube channel has been going for like 3 years, and it's still all just about New Vegas and all the things that were cut out. It's one of my favorite channels, and it's
I enjoy New Vegas. I mean, to me, I know people praise it a lot. I mean, all over the internet, they'll praise it. To me, it was one of the... It was one of those, like, when I got it, I was still in school.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to stop. I played that game until late into the evening, into the morning even. And obviously I regretted the next day. I'm tired and stuff. But it was the only game where I just couldn't put it down. I would exit saying, okay, let me just take a break from it. I would exit it, realize I've got nothing to do with my life, and then just go back onto it. You know what I mean? Like, there was nothing else that I could do,
Yeah, I remember I first played New Vegas when I got a PS3, and I got one late because I got a PS3 the year before the PS4 came out. And so I first played 3, because I'd never played 3. Loved it, and then I was like, oh, I really want to play more. So then I got New Vegas, and I was like, this is absolutely great. And now I've replayed New Vegas like 5 times, and I've played 3 once. Another thing is that for some reason won't work on my PC anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. It refuses. It's like, oh, Windows 10. I'm not even going to open. So
have you tried compatibility modes?
I did, and it didn't do anything. It refused to listen to me. So that was disappointing. But New Vegas, every now and then I replay it.
You need to. You need a little bit of New Vegas in your life to flush the system.
The only thing that disappoints me is that, like, in that the NCR is super fleshed out. You can be like Mr. House. You can be independent. Really, being a part of Caesar's Legion, it's there's a lot missing. It's like very, very bare bones.
I've never played Legion.
You've never played Legion?
The reason why, right? I look at technology.
Yeah.
Now, running around in what was it? American football gear.
Yeah.
With the skirt.
Yes.
Is it's kind of going back a bit. I mean, I'm throwing javelins at somebody that's shooting me with laser rifle.
Yes, but they'll still accept you if you're wearing power armor.
Yeah, but I also don't like their way. Yeah.
No. Thing. But you always do a thing though where you first play the game, you're the good guy, and then you play it again, and now you're gonna be the bad guy.
Yeah, that's
basically means you're first Jesus, and then you're Satan. There's really only two.
No.
Either the good. No, not in New Vegas. New Vegas is much better. But in 3, it's like that. You're either with the Brotherhood, and you're like saving the capital wasteland by curing the water, or you're poisoning the water. It's like, okay, so you're either doing basic common decency, or you're worse than Hitler. Those are the two moralities in video games. You're either evil or you're like a saint.
Before the mod for what's his name? Is his name Phoenix or something like that? Felix, I think.
Felix?
Yes, he's a super mutant that you can get.
Oh yes.
Before his addition, even if you're trying to go good guy, you still had to sacrifice one of your companions or yourself.
Yes, I know. I remember that has been made fun of because you sort of go, oh, but you're immune to radiation. You can do it. And he's like, no, this is something that you must do.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Oh, that's too true.
Todd Howard is a great game designer.
Oh, man.
But yes, New Vegas, sometimes you just have to go back to it.
Yeah, I know, you do definitely.
Every like quest line is great, and every like character is interesting to talk to. Not every single one, but I mean, it's more interesting than any other Fallout game. Like 3 has some interesting things, but New Vegas.
I think they put more thought into it, to be honest.
They did, but also some of those guys are ones who worked on Fallout 1 and 2.
Yeah, true.
So.
Or was it Interplay? No. Was it...
Yeah. Well, yes, it was.
Was it
Interplay and Black Isle?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, but that I also went and played the first 2 years ago, but I started with the 3D ones and they did not age well. I did love, however, in the second one, best moment ever, one of the greatest moments in video games of all time. I always play high charisma characters.
Oh yeah, me too.
And then I do all the things. I didn't kill a single human in Fallout 2 because you can do that. You don't have to ever kill a human. And I got to this point where there's an adult film thing, so you can become a porn star. And I was like, I would like to become a porn star. And I go to the guy and I'm like, I want to become a porn star. And then like the screen fades and then it comes back and then the guy's like, I'm sorry, but you don't have enough endurance to be a porn star. And I was like, well, fuck you. Fine. I will just leave. I will not be a porn star. So I was like,
you couldn't talk your way into it.
No, sadly not. You can't use your silver tongue.
I mean, there's more ways to use it than you think.
But I thought that was so clever. Just being like, oh, no. If you're high charisma, you can't do it because you don't have like enough endurance to be a... And I love that. And the other ones have never been that clever. But that's New Vegas.
Yeah.
How about something I've been playing?
Okay, let's hear it.
Yakuza.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yakuza Kiwami. So I always wanted to play Yakuza. Always. I remember getting them in like old magazines and seeing Yakuza and being like, I want to play it. I never got a copy when I had a PS2. The first one came out in 2006 and then it was remade as Yakuza Kiwami. And it was released a few years ago and released on PC for the first time. So I was like, I need to get this. And I've been playing it. Well, it's a game.
I would assume so.
It's like if you took The Godfather and then you were like, you know what, every now and then in the middle of Godfather, we're just gonna throw a little bit of Freddy Got Fingered. Just every now and then we're gonna be like, they're all like, you have betrayed the clan, so you will not be a Yakuza anymore. And you're like, oh. And then afterwards you're chasing a guy around who's claiming to be an assassin, and you're just like, this is brilliant. And like a child drops a card and you pick up a card and it's got a beetle on it, but it's a woman dressed as like a beetle. And you're like, what the fuck is this? And the child comes like, I lost my card. And then you give it to him and he's like, yes, this is my card. I'll teach you how to play. It's like insects fighting each other. And then it goes back to your guy and it's like internal monologue, and he's like, I don't think this is a kid's game.
Breaking that fourth wall, eh?
It's so great. And then you get things where, like, there's all sorts of just stupid side activities. Like, you get points for eating at every diner, at every restaurant, for having everything on the menu. You get experience points for trying different things. And you get, like, you can go and do the thing where it's like a big in, Japan, baseball.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the thing with, someone throwing a ball and you just hit the ball. Mm-hmm. And you have to, like, aim it at specific places.
Yeah.
It's like mini games. There's just mini games everywhere, and in between the mini games, these stupid mini games, then there's just this like really, like a crime drama. It's like you're watching Goodfellas, and everyone's like, oh, it's really dark, and this guy's betrayed this guy, and then in between you're like, let's go play it like a filthy card game for no real reason.
Well, you can't say it lacks in diversity.
True. Also, the main character has the best facial expression. No,
I have seen some. I've seen videos. Yeah.
His face is always all the time. He just looks angry all the time. And then I remember reading like the Wikipedia, because I was just looking for how many games there were. So I just looked in the Wikipedia page, and it says that all the stories are about this guy, Kiryu Kazuma, I think his name is, and it's like and his role in the Yakuza. But really, what he wants to do is leave the life of crime and work at an orphanage. And I was just like, I haven't gotten that far yet in the story, but that is
good to know.
That is great. I don't know how this guy's like, I'm going to be an orphanage manager. I don't know. I want to know, because it's literally all about beating people up and being like a Yakuza and a big scary Yakuza man, and everyone's afraid of you. And then there's just weird shit that happens all the time.
Well,
it's literally Japan condensed.
I mean, it makes sense, like Yakuza are very tight knitted.
Yeah.
So now, why not recruit at the youngest possible age? Own an orphanage.
Except that he's supposed to be escaping a life of crime.
Doesn't mean you can't sell them. I mean,
true.
You can't put them up for adoption.
True. That's what I do with my orphanage.
Incentive.
Yes. Well, you never know. I have met one orphan so far, and I had to save a dog.
I'm assuming you ditched the orphan and saved the dog instead.
No, you have to save both, sadly. Oh. So I saved the dog, but then okay, this is how it works. So it's very serious, right? There's a child. It needs help, and there's and then you save the dog, and the child's like, oh, I think the dog needs food. So then you run halfway across town to buy some dog food. Come back. And then she's like, oh, I can feed the dog thing. Oh, I think it needs water too. I run to the shop. I go and buy water. I bring it back. And then she goes,
why'd you buy water?
You have to buy water.
Why?
Because
aren't there taps?
Apparently not. So... It's Japan. I don't know. I bring back water, and she's like, oh, you can't give a dog just water straight out of a bottle. And your guy's like, I suppose not. And then you have to run back to the shop to buy a bowl. And then you come back, and then she's like, oh yes, we can use this. I'm like, this is the weirdest game, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, you want to go, didn't you?
I'm very, very intrigued by what the hell is happening, but it just seems the most roundabout sort of
process of
it's just things that are happening. Like, why couldn't you tell me to get water and a bowl
and food?
But no, instead she's like, oh, water. I come back and she's like, oh no, that won't do. Also, I went and I bought one called mineral water, and I came back and she was like, that's not water, apparently. So I had to go buy water somewhere else. No, vitamin water. And then I had to go and find mineral water at a different shop. I had to go into like 4 different shops to find the right water.
Stuff's meant for us, not for dogs.
Yes, I know, but I couldn't find anything else called water. There was vitamin water and nothing else.
No vending machine?
No, there's no vending machines. It's people. You talk to people, Tristan. Like real life.
Oh, really?
You can also talk to anyone like on the street, but they'll just say something like, oh, I'm going to the shop. And then that's all they say. Something like that.
Oh, I'm just going. Yes. Oh, so it's like one-liner dialogue.
Yes, it's just like,
okay, yeah.
And then you talk to them again, and they'll say the same thing.
It takes me back to the Pokemon days. Same text dialogue.
Exactly. And then you just sort of like, okay, I'll go somewhere else. Also, it seems like it's not a very big world, but it's like a dense world.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like
heavily populated but small maps.
Yes. Like you can run from one side to the other in like 3 minutes, but it's like like downtown Tokyo.
Yeah.
So there's shops everywhere and all that kind of stuff.
I've obviously been to downtown Tokyo. Yes.
I've seen pictures.
I've gone into Google Earth and I've gone into Google Earth, dropped the little guy there.
And I've also seen anime, and they are all set in Japan.
You're gonna be one of those guys.
And at least half of them are set in Tokyo. And at least half of those, it's students.
No, I think more. I think the percentage of
definitely
of student versus non-student anime or manga is
exactly. But this one isn't about students. This one's about a Yakuza man. Kiryu. Kazuma. I think I haven't played it enough to remember his name.
Oh, I haven't played it at all, but it sounds great. Maybe I'll pick it up.
I think you'd like it because it's very stupid.
Once you get the next gen of PlayStation, then I'll pick it up.
I still have a PS3. It's great. It hasn't been plugged in like 4 years.
I've got an Xbox 360. It's currently plugged in.
I used to have a PlayStation 2 until my grandmother poured smoothie on it.
Why did you? Why would you pour smoothie on it?
She knocked it over. And I was just like, now there's just pink stuff all over my PlayStation. That's great. And it didn't work anymore. This was before I had a PlayStation 3. So I was a very sad boy.
As opposed to?
Depressed boy. Alright, so what's the next thing? You've also been playing Fallout 4. I suppose we already spoke about like Fallout.
Yeah, in the generalness of it.
Yeah. But with me, Fallout 4 just wasn't... I enjoyed it. I replayed it a while back, but it's not as good as the other ones. Mostly the dialogue thing really bothered me because like you don't really get to like be anyone interesting.
I will say this regarding dialogue. My first time ever playing it, right? I was so shocked when you answer the door, the guy asks for your name, blah blah blah.
I really like that setup. It's great.
You do that, and then right after you're done, Sean starts crying, and then Codsworth comes in, and I was so shocked because he's like, "Mr. Tristan," and I was like, "What? Did I hear that correctly?" I then exit the game, loaded a new game because of that. My brain was just in shock that I didn't think about reloading.
Yes.
So I made a new game, did it again, and then I heard it again, and I thought to myself, "No way." The game reached out to me in ways that haven't been done before.
You see,
so we'll say that.
This is one of the good things, I suppose, about not keeping up with the game news. I knew about that before the game came out.
Yeah, why were you surprised?
Know your name. But I remember being very excited about that, and I chose a name, and it wasn't one of the names on the list. So I never said my name, just said man.
What's your name?
My name was Storm on it.
Of course.
And then when I replayed it a while back, I decided to be Fuckface because I know that's one of the names that is on there. And then he only said it to me once, and I was like disappointed. But at least he was like, "Hello, Mr. Fuckface," and I was like, hello.
I would say with Fallout 4, I think it's a different. It's almost like I feel like Bethesda was trying to reboot it softly.
Yeah, it's. Well, I suppose like Fallout 3 and then New Vegas were very like. It's like the Oblivion engine. Yeah, they both like use that engine,
and then also the next jump.
Yes,
they actually like, unlike Oblivion and Skyrim, the jump from New Vegas to Fallout 4 was so great.
Yes,
I mean, I remember going down into the vault, and when that new kit, I got chills because now I'm not just living in the aftermath.
Yes,
I've experienced the beginning, and that for me, I thought was great.
I think also Fallout 4 really upped the cinematic aspect because like they'll have a camera coming from different directions and stuff. Before it was just straight ahead, dead eyes staring at you, being like, "Yes, we will now go on the." It was terrifying. Yeah. Everyone stared into your eyes, into your soul. Now they have like a more cinematic camera angles and stuff. Although it's still like sort of weaker cinematic storytelling than like The Witcher 3. Which is really has like panning and long shots and also like looks so much prettier. But
don't play Fallout 4 if you want to experience like
choice
like New Vegas. Play Fallout 4 if you want to have a post-apocalyptic Skyrim. That's the best way I can put it. Don't play it thinking it's going to be the next iteration to the franchise. Play it as if your first time play going into the Fallout world. Then it works. Because you don't know what you're actually missing out on.
That's true. I think also with Fallout 4, when I first played it, because I got it when it came out, it was the last game I was hyped for. I don't believe in hype anymore. because it always disappoints you. But I was like, no, I'm really excited. I got it. My PC was just slightly not good enough. And so my frame rate went between 11 and 18 frames a second. Oh. And I played 93 hours of Fallout 4, where if I went into a very busy area, the frame rate dropped to like 11. I had to drop the difficulty to the easiest it could go because I often...
You lagged.
Yeah, basically. You're aiming and you're going over the enemies and you're just like, okay, I'm going to leave. I'm just going to go.
Why don't you just use VATS?
I never use VATS. I don't like VATS.
I don't like VATS either, but in that situation...
But then the only way to upgrade your VATS is to use your points in VATS that I want to use in other places.
Ah, fair enough.
So rather I just like put it on easiest and I just ran at people with a shotgun and shot them in the face because it's easier.
No, my first playthrough was with melee. I'm like that. I first play melee and then I go for the Lone Ranger type vibe.
Never. I started a New Vegas run melee and then I didn't go back to it. I never play melee.
It's boring.
I'm always a guns guy. I suppose like I don't know, when you find like a death claw or something, isn't it harder?
It depends. I mean, you get different perks. The more strength you have, the more harder you hit.
True.
And then, you wear the buffer armors. And then
that was actually something I hated about one of the New Vegas DLCs. Have you played all the DLCs?
No.
Okay. There's a DLC called... Okay, I can't remember what it's called. But you go to like a casino. I don't know if you've played that one or not.
Not yet.
Okay. Because basically, the whole thing, I'm like 100% with guns, my, laser weapons, 100%, like charisma, 100%. Mm-hmm. You get to this place and they go... Here's a melee weapon. They take away... It's one of the ones where they take away all your weapons.
And you suck at melee.
And then I was just like... And the things don't die.
Yeah.
The enemies don't die. You hit them and they wake up again. You have to cut off limbs. They're like zombie creature type things. So I'm like... First off, I have no melee ability. Second of all, these things are like impossible to kill. And it was the most horrible DLC I have, and I've actually never replayed it. I've replayed.
You avoided it.
I do all the other DLCs and I don't do that one because it sucks.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Fuck melee. Unless, of course, the game is designed around it. That's fine.
Yeah, true.
So, what other things have you played?
Recently.
Yes. Well, because we both played Tetris. I played Super Mario Brothers back in the day.
Tetris.
The oldest game I remember was Flintstones game. It was a cartridge game. It was great. My mother was better than me at it.
The first game I played, wow. I think it was Putt Putt Goes to the Moon or something like that.
Okay, the Putt Putt games, they were on our school PCs in Sun Valley.
Yes.
And I could finish it in the lesson.
I couldn't.
By the time, like, eventually, but like I got to the point where like I knew exactly how to solve every puzzle.
Or the Magic School Bus.
And the Magic School Bus. My gran had 2 Magic School Bus games, and I played them over and over.
Yeah, as a kid, you don't care. You'll do the start over and over again.
They were great. I love the Magic School Bus thing. I don't want to. I remember there was a Humble Bundle where you could get all the Putt Putt games, and I was like, I should get this, shouldn't I? And then I thought to myself, no, I'm never going to play this.
You're going to dump it on me.
It's just one of those things where you go, I should get the Putt Putt. I should get them. I don't want to.
You know what game I actually speaking about Putt Putt and all the games.
Golf, yeah.
No. just old games in general.
Yes.
I remember when I think it was the 3rd Ice Age.
Okay.
All right.
Was it one of those tie-in licensed?
Yeah, games.
Yeah.
And I remember playing it when it first came out. I mean, I got it as a Christmas present, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then recently, I tried to go back. Find the CD.
Yeah.
Put it inside a laptop to copy it onto a USB to put inside my computer because who has CD-ROMs or DVD-ROMs anymore? Like, seriously. So after that conversion, I played it and I realized I had so much fun with it, but the game doesn't really support mouse. It's a controller game, but it doesn't play Xbox with the Xbox controller. So you have to have either a PlayStation or a computer.
That's actually really like it'll work with a PlayStation one.
Maybe, I'm assuming. I think it was released with the intention to go onto the PlayStation, and I played that game a lot. I would say it's it hasn't aged if you're thinking about it as it's a game made for kids.
Yeah.
If you try to go on nostalgia, then it's aged badly. But if you're going on, no, this is a game intended for kids, then it's a great game. That's...
I actually also remember playing, just the one, I remember playing the Ratatouille tie-in PlayStation 2 game.
Oh, man.
And I rented it from the video store. Back when video stores had games in them. And I finished it in one night.
Back when they had games and pedophiles.
Exactly.
when kids would actually go to the video store.
Yes, and it was great. I don't remember anything about it other than obviously it was based on Ratatouille. I don't remember it at all. But I remember really loving it.
I never played it. If we're going back to like, I remember when you could rent a game. Like, I used to, on the PlayStation 1, I used to rent... I can't think of the name now. I wasn't allowed to play any of the GTAs.
Okay.
Strictly, you're not allowed to rent that.
I was allowed to.
You're too young for that. So I used to play like Medieval. I used to rent.
Love Medieval. I still need to play the remake.
And what I remember is that you could hire your PlayStation 1 game with your PlayStation 1. You could go there and you could hire it, and you used to go. My uncle used to go there in the morning if he knew that it was weekend and I was coming over and to see my cousin. Then he would go in the morning to rent it for the weekend, because by the time parents clock off and now you want them to take you to the video store, someone else has already rented out the consoles, and they only had like 3 or 4 consoles per store. And I remember renting that out, and I remember specifically having to begging my parents to buy me a memory card, because you didn't rent them with memory cards, so you would either just replay it, and then eventually they bought me a memory card, and I was like, yes. And then I used to be able to continue the game now because I had a memory card. It was so weird. Like, imagine nowadays removing your hard drive out of your computer and sending it back. Like renting a computer, then putting your hard drive in. It's such a weird concept.
When I got my PlayStation 2, I didn't have a memory card for the first month, and I had Simpsons Hit and Run. Okay,
just over and over again.
I would only ever be able to get to the end of the second stage. Now these are for people who don't know them, it's did you play Hit and Run?
Yes, I played.
Where it's like GTA, but it's like stages. So you'll be this is one open world stage, and then there's another one you play as Bart, and then one you play as Lisa. And I could get to the end of the second one, and by then it was too far, and I couldn't. I had to turn the game off, and then I'd start again from Homer in the beginning.
Old school arcade.
The modern age is great. I love being able to just have storage,
and and even if you don't have storage, you got cloud sync.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that kind of wears it down.
Things have gotten better.
Now that we look at the past, people think. And then what's worse is that back in the day, if you had a certain game, I'm not going to mention names, but this game would corrupt your whole memory card.
Yes, I remember.
And back then, no one told you about it. There was no instant news that you could go on and look for it. It used to come in a magazine, and if your parents were willing to buy it for you.
Yes.
I know you were a avid NAG collector.
Well, I only once I was a teenager, not as a child. I was given a bunch of them. Once I was a teenager, I did that, but then I was just playing PS3 by then, I think. So luckily I didn't get any of that then. But I used to trade games. Oh yeah, flip! You go into the pawn shop, and then you go in there. You trade your game, and then it has to be one with the same sticker on it.
And then
and then you have to pay $50, and then you get
a new game.
And then all of those companies closed down.
Or even worse, they went online.
Yeah.
So then it's because I remember when you could just do that, but you couldn't do it with computer games. You could do it with console games.
Yes, console.
Computer games, if they use the key, that's it. Yes. I remember always wanting the orange box. Getting the orange box, which is somewhere over here. It's somewhere over here.
There it is.
Okay, so getting the orange box and then realizing the key doesn't work, and Steam wouldn't allow me to play the game. To which then I had to wait very long, years even. to buy it on Steam because I just did not have the funds.
Well, I mean, I bought the orange box on Steam for like 90% off because every single...
And that's when I bought it
exactly.
as
well. you buy it for like $10 and you're like, oh, there we go. That's all the Half-Life games ever made.
Worst decision of my life, actually. Because then, you get into it. Okay, Half-Life.
Yes.
Blue Shift, Opposing Forces.
Yes.
Oh, good. Half-Life 2. Oh, yeah. Half-Life Episode 1. Half-Life Episode 2. And then The Lost Coast. The most depressing thing that I've ever played is The Lost Coast. With commentary in the background where you're just playing in the engine.
Yeah, it's supposed to just be a tech demo.
Yeah,
it's not supposed to be like a
It's
game.
like Gary's Mod without the fun.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And then I remember I only found out afterwards that there was another Half-Life game that I could play that takes place... It's a primarily co-op game, and it stars the other two people that have the HEV suit, because like when you go to put on your HEV suit, there's already two missing, and it stars those two.
Yes.
And I remember playing it once co-op, and then I couldn't again. I couldn't find it.
Probably with me.
Did I play it with you?
I have it on PlayStation, PS2.
Then I probably played it with you.
Yeah, it's called Decay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I still to this day haven't finished my the collection because I haven't played that.
That one is often considered to be quite shit though.
Yeah, but I would still play it just to say, hey, I played it.
Yeah. Although, I mean, there's also like Half-Life Source, which I never played.
I played that, but do you know what was a surprisingly good Half-Life? Because the Blue Shift and Opposing Force, they're considered mods.
Yeah. Yeah.
More than expansions.
Yeah.
Wanted. The Western overhaul. So basically, it's if somebody made a Western game using Gary's mod.
Okay.
So it's basically, it has nothing to do with Half-Life at all. It's a Western base with unique character models and stuff, but it's all the sound effects, all the same mechanics.
Yeah. I suppose it's like Counter-Strike was too, the original Half-Life.
Now, I want you to picture this. We'll put it up on the display. You're in this... I call it like Play-Doh, because like Half-Life had this almost like Play-Doh environment. Now in this canyon that all looks Play-Doh to me. The floor is sand. White, right? Now you have these little bitch-ass scorpions that are about that big compared to your character. They're white and they run at you at a hell of a speed. The only time you're being stung by a scorpion is when your health starts going down. And you're like, shit, what is happening? Now you're running around, you jump onto a rock and you see like 3 or 4 of these things around you. And the hitboxes aren't so good. And you only get a certain amount of ammo. And you want to save those for bandits and cougars. Mountain lions, not
older
your
woman.
mom.
Yeah. I'll tell you said that.
So, that said, you can't shoot them, but you can throw your knife. If you throw your knife, you have to go collect it if you miss.
Yeah.
Which means you have to go into the stinging pit.
You can't just slash at them.
You have to get really close.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't. I would say it's difficult to get used to, but it was like back then when I first played, I was like, wow, this is like a Western game that it's a mod, so I don't actually have to like buy another game.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. It showed a lot of the creativity with the engine at the time.
But like that engine, is this for Half-Life or Half-Life 2?
This is for Half-Life.
Okay, because Half-Life was like Half-Life and Quake were like the mod machines.
Well, the thing is, the Half-Life was made with basically a Quake engine on steroids.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's still technically the Quake engine.
Yeah. So
it took that with it.
But now. That was like the golden age of modding now.
Yeah.
I mean, you still get lots of mods, but I don't care for mods myself. I'm very vanilla, just when it comes to games, though.
No, the thing is, I like immersion mods. I like mods that add more, but appropriate.
Yeah. I'm
not someone that will just add in stuff.
So you don't... Another one where like it turns Death Claws into Randy Man. Not Randy... Oh, God. Macho Man Randy Savage. That's it.
No, I would never do that.
Not those kind of mods. No. Not stupid mods.
I won't call them stupid. I would just say I'm a purist in the sense that if I do add mods, it must be immersive. It must be according to the law. I won't add anything that goes against that. Like, I'm not gonna add our weaponry in this world into Fallout.
Okay.
You know, I'm not gonna like.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, though, that's what the people who did first Counter-Strike did. That they took our guns and put them into Half-Life, making Counter-Strike. They did completely change the setting, but still, they're just using it as a blank slate.
I wouldn't say that so much as, I mean, back in the day, the guns that were featured in Half-Life, besides the science guns, those guns did exist at that time. Yeah,
but there's a lot more guns in Counter-Strike.
Oh, I mean, the Counter-Strike's main thing is guns.
Yes.
Skins, guns.
Guns and a toxic culture. But isn't that video games in general?
Yeah, it's true. You can't deny that.
Like, the greatest mod of all time is for... it's very recent. Just came out. And it's for a game that has an extremely toxic player base. Cyberpunk. There's a mod that lets you have sex with Keanu Reeves, because that's obviously the best mod that's ever existed. Would you not agree?
No. No, I respect him too much.
He isn't actually Keanu Reeves, he's a character. He's played by Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
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 Would you mod Tom Hanks into that position?
No, but Tom Hanks is like America's darling. He's the only good American.
Keanu Reeves is American.
Yeah, well, he's Keanu Reeves. He's John Wick. He'll kill me if I say anything otherwise.
Fair enough.
He's great, and but yeah, all he's delightful. So, but I have not played Cyberpunk because
No, I haven't played.
I wait till things work.
Shame, man. You got to give those guys some credit. I mean, they were doing all they can to make time, and everybody was just pushing for them to release it.
Yeah, they should have said no.
They did several times.
Yes, they should have said no more.
Yeah, but how much hate mail and threatening letters can you get before you give into the pressure?
But they were also doing it so they could make their money back really quickly, because they made their money back before it came out. Which was called a successful launch in terms of money.
Yeah, true.
However, they did burn their entire reputation because they released Witcher 3, which is like, The Witcher 3.
No, but you must remember The Witcher 3 didn't have a smooth launch.
It didn't have a smooth launch, but people forget. People have short memories.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, this was such a big scrub. This is like with...
But this is hype, isn't it? This is what hype does.
This is what hype does. It's probably the most hyped game of all time. But this is also like... Never mind, I completely forgot what my train of thought was.
Alright, so moving on. What other games have you played?
Okay, so how about I'll do two at once, because I also, as part of... I write for publication NAG, and I do little mini reviews of Apple Arcade games.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I've played 2 mobile games, which are actually quite delightful. The one is called Alba, a Wildlife Adventure. Is
that the one with the Russian guy?
No. That's Little Orpheus.
Okay, there we go. Yes. There we go.
That's with Ivan Ivanovich and the offensive Russian accents. No, this is Alba, and you play as little Alba. She's a little girl, and she's given a phone, and then you take pictures of animals. And it's just really cute and delightful. And also when you run, so you're running around, and then she starts doing things like the animation changes. So she'll start doing like the thing, where you put your arms out, like a child running like that. Yeah, she'll start doing that, or she'll start skipping. It's like these cute little touches that they put in, which I'm like, that's great.
That's adorable.
It's adorable. I love it. I mean, I wouldn't be like, this is, the next Witcher, but it's
something.
It's cute, and you take pictures of animals, and you learn about animals, and then the whole thing is it's basically you, who's like a 5-year-old girl, and like another 5-year-old girl decide they're going to save the wildlife reserve because they're going to build a big hotel there. So you're going to save the wildlife by taking pictures of animals and cleaning up. It's really sort of super optimistic. Like, we're going to save it by picking up the trash and fixing the bridge. It's very,
How much did you pay for that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Got it for free.
The Apple Arcade, you don't pay anything for it. Well, you do pay for Apple Arcade, but you don't pay for the games themselves. Yeah. See, there's 150, 200 games on it. Okay. Play whatever you want. It's like the Netflix of game. It's a game subscription service like Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah. It's Netflix of games.
There's a Netflix of games. What? There's also the Xbox one.
Xbox Live.
Xbox Live. Okay, I can't remember. God, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't have it. I should, because it's like you pay like $100 a month and then you get like access to whatever games you want. But anyway, it's like this. So that was cute. And the other one's called Spire Blast, which is literally just essentially a match color game. You know, so you sort of, it's one of those ones you're sitting there, very mindless, but you're just sort of sitting there matching colors. But it's not like match 3. It's more like you have a red block and you shoot it into like a red, and all the red disappears. It's like that kind of thing. It's casual games. You
very casual.
You play it while listening to a podcast.
Oh, is that what you do?
That's what I do, because I need to get through my podcast.
You just keep the mind busy.
The old podcast game, which I finished it, but to me, I know lots of people love it, but Borderlands 2, to me, is a podcast game. I'm just like, the story doesn't matter.
You just shoot things and see pretty colors.
Exactly. You're just shooting things and you listen to podcasts for like 2 hours straight, and then you go, I'm tired now.
Yeah, I could use a break.
That's basically what it's for. So these are like those games.
Oh, okay. That's very
It's also for when you're on the toilet. And you don't feel like being on Twitter because it's sad.
I used to play, I think it was Dungeon Hunter or something on my phone.
You see? You also played, you see?
Yeah, but that was when I was on the train and I had to wait until I got into town.
You see, it sucks, eh?
Yeah, it's a whole hour trip.
Trains, toilets, bank lines, all of this is the perfect situation for a mobile game. If you literally get home and you go, I'm going to sit now and play some mobile games, I'm like, you're a strange dude, man. You're strange. But if you're gonna sit like on the toilet, or you're gonna just listen to something, or like I'll watch a movie and half watch the movie and play a game. Because you can't possibly watch a movie and give it your full attention.
No. I've got 2 screens. I watch the movie and I play a game.
You see, it's the same thing. But some games, like say if you play Yakuza, I can't even listen to this podcast because it's very involving. And people are always talking to you, and the cutscene's like 20 minutes long. It's one of those. Mm-hmm. So this is one where you just go, I'm just gonna sit and just
relax.
I'm just gonna chill, and I'm gonna take pictures of animals, and it's gonna tell me it's a sparrow. I'm going to go, that's cute. And you're a cute little girl, and you're way too optimistic about the world. When you grow up a bit, you're going to find out that everything is pointless. Picking up the rubbish isn't going to save the world, but it's fine. It's sweet for what it is. It's probably made for children, but it's fine because I played it. But still, the best Apple Arcade game is still the one I showed you, and that one is beautiful. With little Orpheus! With Ivan Ivanovich. It is absolutely beautiful, and you play as little Ivan. Running through center of Earth and being attacked by things like T-Rexes.
Got your Vern in there?
Duh.
Oh my word.
That one was great, but that's like, I think I've played like 60 or 70 Apple Arcade games, because I go through them and I'm like, okay, if this one worth like recommending to people, this one isn't. So you're going through these, churning through them. So there's like 3 in the entire course that I've been like, these are genuinely brilliant. It's a lot to slog through.
I can imagine. I mean, like, these aren't I'm not a big mobile game. I've got one game on my phone at the moment.
I never played mobile games until I started doing it. And it's not because I'm like, I love mobile games. It's because some people want to learn about mobile games for some reason.
They want to find out is anything beyond Angry Birds and Candy Crush.
Yes. And there's some really good stuff. And there's some stuff that's just like everything else. And then there's some stuff that's crap. And there was
like ported games.
Yeah.
Games meant for other stronger consoles or computers that are ported.
That's actually like the worst thing. I'm playing. You played Little Orpheus, and the whole time I'm just going, if this was on PC, it would be so much better. But I think it is eventually going to come to PC. But
I hope so,
because I would love you to play it. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's gorgeous.
No,
it's so pretty.
The way they managed to utilize the phone's capabilities for that game is extraordinary.
Yeah, it's
gorgeous.
It's not difficult. It's just you literally just run in a direction and sometimes move things around and run away from things. But it doesn't need to be anything more.
No, it doesn't. Why would it need to
be? Not every game has to be an RPG. Sometimes a game can just be a cute little story game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why Stanley Parable exists.
Oh man, I remember that game.
Love Stanley Parable.
All right, what do you think? Should we move over to the news?
We could do the news. Actually, wait. There's one game that I've been playing for like ages, which I don't know if do you ever play Metroidvania games?
No.
He's a sad person.
Yeah. It wasn't my thing, and I accept that.
Yes. So Bloodstained Ritual of the Night has a very interesting sort of history. The guy who made it, he worked for Konami. He's the guy that like made Castlevania. And of course, because Konami's a great company,
which we'll get to later,
they decided, you know what we should do? We shouldn't let him ever make games that he wants to make. So he decided, I'm going to go to Kickstarter. And he got funded like instantly. And it took quite a while to release the game. But the game came out and it's like amazing. It's like the best Castlevania. It's not Castlevania because it can't be legally. Yeah. But it's essentially the same thing. Same way of playing, everything like that, you know, big open map. Where you can go wherever, you know, you get abilities which allow you to find new areas, you know. This ability lets you, like, jump higher. This ability lets you, like, squeeze through tight spaces. This ability allows you to, like, break through certain walls, blah, blah, blah. And it's just, like, great. Although sometimes it can be, you know, it doesn't tell you what to do.
Mm. So you're saying it's not intuitive?
Not at all. Like, there was a part where I had to fight this woman called Bloodless. And she's basically a vampire lady. And she fights you with a umbrella. And I beat her, and I got the umbrella, and I got a special ability called, like, Blood Suck or something. And then I'm running all over the map, being like, what am I supposed to do? There's nowhere else for me to go. And so I looked it up, because that's what you do in the modern age. I just look it up, and they go, oh, once you've killed her, you use her ability on that giant pool of blood that's in, like, the one place. And I was like...
How are you supposed to know
How am I supposed to just know this? There's no other, like, spells have environmental uses. And then all of a sudden I'm like... Okay, and that opens a whole new part of the map.
Okay, I can, you know, I can tolerate games like this, like that, how you explained it now, because although it's not intuitive, there's still like logic behind it.
Yeah.
What I hate is the kind of tutorials where they will literally take the controls away from you, so that you can play out this unskippable tutorial.
Yeah,
that is worse.
It is, but I think the problem of the tutorial is still a difficult one. People don't really know how to do tutorials. Like, some do it well, some do it shittily. When you have lots of like different things, it's difficult to just show them all to you.
Yeah,
you know.
No, I agree.
And also, some games just go, there's a separate training mode you can look at if you want. Like, fighting games do this. They'll sort of go, oh yes, there's like 30 special combos that each character can do. But you can go in a separate training facility. Yeah. You can just play if you want. And I'm like, yeah, but then I'm just pushing buttons and being like, okay, I lost.
I think one of the most annoying things, and it happened when I played Outer Worlds.
Yes.
And also, it's very much a BioWare thing as well. Codexes. But codexes where you have to individually look at the thing to unhighlight it.
Yes.
That's a pain. That's a real pain for me.
I only played Witcher 3 last year because I was like, you know what? I'm waiting until they release everything. It's all fixed. 5 years old. And
you got that Steam special, didn't you?
And I got a Steam special.
Yeah, there we go.
Like 80% off. It was great. But in that, there'll be parts where it's like, okay, you're going to hunt a specific monster, and then it tells you one of your little objectives. It says, read the codex thing. And then for some reason, I didn't see it. So I'm literally running around being like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
What monster is this? Was this the cockatrice?
It's been with like a few, and then I just
like, oh.
And then I go, oh. And what it'll do as well, it'll say like, you know, it says, look at the thing, and I go down, and I'll be like, I've looked at the Banshee page. I've looked at it before. This is a Banshee. I know I'm fighting a Banshee. And then it turns out, no, this is actually called, like, the Lady of Neverwinter or something. Yeah. She's a specific Banshee.
Yeah.
And it has the exact same weaknesses. And I'm just like, thank you, game.
No, I think I get it. You want to inform them in case they miss something, you can just go back on the codex. But the fact that whenever I go into my menu, I've got this blip that is attracting my eye, and that makes me less want to read it because now I'm going to go just switch it off. And then some games don't give you a mark as read option.
Yeah.
Oh my word, that is the worst.
I also Witcher actually also has it with the inventory, where you're supposed to read a specific book, but none of them are labeled. So what you have to do is you have to go through each item individually and look at the name and be like, that's not the name. Next one. And potions are like this too. It should just be a list of names.
So what I did is I read any book that the minute I picked it up, it was highlighted. I read it just to make sure, and then also I went through half my Witcher playthrough, Witcher 3, not knowing that you need to meditate for potions. So I was trying to find potions the whole time, and I was so confused. But I was too stubborn to be like, no, man, this game's been out. The people have been saying it's great. Like, I didn't need to look up a guide. They said it's like intuitive and it's like one of the best stories. I went through half the game without realizing I could meditate.
I think it does tell you, but it tells you once and never again.
And at that time, you know what I was doing?
What?
I was watching a movie and playing a game.
See, this is why it's fine with some games like Borderlands, because who cares what happens in Borderlands? None of the characters are interesting. Or you do it like you're playing The Witcher and you're like, okay, I need to just dedicate my life to The Witcher for 50 hours. So, you know.
Yeah,
know
what you're
doing.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, shall we move on to the news?
Sure, what's first in the news?
Okay, so the first thing, which I just always find interesting, Age of Empires 2, which came out in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Released a new update, which gives new civilizations to players. And I'm just like...
Is this with the definitive edition?
Yeah, I think so. But I just love that they're like, oh yeah, I know it's like a fucking 22-year-old game or whatever, but they're like, oh yeah, we're going to release new things.
Yeah, but
like, it's fascinating. It's great.
I can respect that. I mean,
yeah.
The community had kept the game going for so long that Microsoft decided, well, let's give them a reward.
It's still a big like esports game. But I heard that and I'm like, that's like great. Because there are people who still play. I mean, if I had it on my PC, which I would actually love to play it again. I played Age of Empires 2 so much. Yeah. I've never played Age of Empires 1, and I've never played Age of Empires 3.
I've got it if you want.
And I don't care. Age of Empires 2 is all I need. It's like, you know, you've got Warcraft 3. Yes, Warcraft 1 and 2 exist, but Warcraft 3 is like the best RTS game.
Not anymore.
In my opinion.
Not anymore.
Like, I haven't played RTS games in like 15 years.
I mean.
But
this, where is it now? There we go. This, Warcraft 3.
Yes.
Is a good game.
Yes, it is.
What's currently on Activision Blizzard's Battle.net application is not a good game.
You see, because this is my thing about Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 is like the most compatible game I've ever seen in my life. It is run on every single PC I've ever played it on. Mm-hmm. Why did they do a remake? It works just fine. It didn't need to be remade. I have no interest in the remake. This still works. I can play it on my PC. I've tried to check, and it worked on my new PC as well. It works on everything. That game is the most resilient game ever made. And I don't know why you would have anything else.
It wasn't by choice that I played Reforged.
That's what they all say.
No. This is going to sound bad. I have a strictly no pre-order rule. But this game was bought on pre-order. Warcraft 3 Reforged. Not by me. Okay? It was a gift for my birthday.
Okay.
That's a friend of mine who knows I play WoW a lot wanted to get me something, but having already owned Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, not the Diablos though.
But try Diablo. It's a very different game.
I hear it's great, but I think I'm drained of the dungeon crawler.
Okay, yeah. No, it's like the quintessential dungeon crawler. If you played, if you're tired of them, you're tired of them.
Yeah, like I think I've worn that out for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was bought for me as a birthday present, and then I was like, okay, and this was bought a year, like when it was first announced.
Yeah.
It was bought for me. I've tried playing it on and off. It feels empty. It's because like the models aren't those cute, very badly.
It's old polygon graphics. It's very like the muscles are like
the comical
shapes.
style has lost that.
Yeah.
But you know you have these funny dialogues and stuff, but the models are so rigid. And because they look like straight out of like a Blizzard cinematic, they also don't feel as comical anymore.
Okay, so but they have like a bit more of a realistic.
Yeah, I mean, like they did a lot of work. Like I would say the only reason why I still play Reforged personally is that so I can compare the models, so that I can play Reforged and go like, oh yeah, so that's what they did. Because I don't know if you heard this, but normally in Warcraft 3 they had color variants to distinguish certain things. Now they actually have individual models for certain variants. So now, like a bandit lord isn't just a normal bandit scaled up and made red or something.
Okay, so it's actually like...
They actually have different models. And that for me was interesting.
Yeah.
That's like the only... I don't even play it for nostalgia. Because I don't get nostalgia out of it.
Yeah. No, if you want nostalgia, you just play this.
I've got it, so yeah. The only thing I don't have is Frozen Throne on here. But I do have it on the other one, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, because to me...
Warcraft... I wish I could get the person's money back, but...
Yeah, well, it was still a sweet gift.
It was.
You know what? This happened to me with... I bought a gift for someone who absolutely loves Harry Potter, and I bought them... It was when it came out, it was that Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is a play. And it's shit. And... I
haven't even heard of it.
And they were just like, yeah, it was shit. And then I also read it, and I was like, wow, it is shit. They're like... Yeah, but it's already nice that you bought it for me. So you're like, you both agree, like, it was shit. But it was still sweet. It was a thoughtful gift at the time.
The thought counts, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So the next of the news stories is about our old friend. We just spoke about Konami.
Oh, yeah.
I love Konami. They're beautiful. They're the makers of Metal Gear Solid. They made Castlevania. They made Contra. Yu-Gi-Oh! They were big back in the day, and then they decided
they had their own code.
They did. They had their own code, but they were big time. They were huge. Everyone knew them, and also Silent Hill. They also made Silent Hill.
Yeah.
They were like one. So they were like huge, and then they just went weird, and they were like, okay, we're not gonna like do games anymore, and we're gonna fuck over Hideo Kojima.
I like to think it's Konami as the Japanese EA.
The thing is, like, EA at least makes games. Konami doesn't make games anymore.
They do.
They just make PES or PES.
PES.
I don't know if it's pronounced PES or PES.
No, it's PES.
PES. The soccer game that is less successful than FIFA.
That's what I'm trying to say. I think, you know what I realized about this one is that after losing their flagship, right, they had to find something else. Unfortunately, the only other game that was making waves was PES, because it also has a mobile version.
The thing is that they still own all those other things. They still own Metal Gear. But they own Silent Hill. Yeah, I know they did. And then like.
But then because of the loss of someone very important, I don't think Silent Hill's gonna. Because wasn't it supposed to be Silent Hills or something like that?
Yeah. Yes, it was Silent Hills, which was PT. Well, PT was like the demo for it. Yeah, Hideo Kojima and also Guillermo del Toro was going to work on it. Like they had like huge. Also, what's his name? Junji Ito. I don't know if you know Junji Ito, manga artist, like horror, really freaky stuff. He was also supposed to work on it. And they just burnt every single bridge.
You know what they need? They need a new flagship.
Yeah.
Now I had this thought. Looking at the Metal Gears, right? They're artists, they're devs, they can do great work, right? And they've proven it time and time again.
Yeah.
But they need a direction. So I had an idea. Why doesn't Konami, with their Western recognition, because they don't just cater to Japan.
Yeah, they're probably actually more famous.
They're international, right? Yeah. And like you said, they're probably more famous overseas. Yeah. Now here's my thing. Why not take a Japanese game that would otherwise never release internationally because you have to get translators and blah 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 blah, and you show it to the world. Show us something else. I mean, like, I know you don't watch a lot of anime per se like I do, but looking at it, you kind of think like the isekai genre where you get a person that gets put into a game world, right? But have you ever come across a game that's like that? It's never showing up on any Sony stores or anything. And the reason why I say this is because those games that do exist that are like that, that those games are kind of loosely based off, are all stuck locally. They're all stuck in Japan. And another thing is they have the 3 tropes. First trope is it's always going to be turn-based.
Although the latest Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy VII Remake...
But that is the only exception that came to the West as well.
Yes.
Now, what if they made a game that had those RPG elements like in the isekai animes, right? And then they just made it more accessible to Western culture, where they take away the turn-based, they take away the chibi style, and they take away the text. If they can make something where it's nicely voice acted, right, where they have almost like the Japanese Skyrim, you know what I mean? If Konami went with that, right, I know like they need someone to lead it, but to break off into that, there would be the only. It would be a nice balance, because
the thing with Konami though is that Konami is kind of like, you can't really compare Konami to like say Nintendo. Nintendo makes games. That's all they make.
But they've got their own console as well.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? That's all, it's a game console. It's all game focused. Konami is more like, if you think of like, say, Sony. Sony, yes, PlayStation is huge, but they also make TVs and radios. And you know, Sony is
film company.
Yeah, and then also, you know, like say Microsoft. They could like get rid of Xbox and they'd still be one of the richest companies in the world.
Yeah, true.
They're like that. They're actually a conglomerate. They have apparently mineral water is one of their biggest things, and also pachinko machines is one of their big, you know, pachinko machines.
Yeah, I know.
They like do that. So they're like gambling and like other things, which makes more money than games. And games has all sorts of like difficulties. So they're probably just like
yeah, true.
We'll leave it for the 80s, back when we were like. Because also the really shit thing though is that they still hold on to all of these licenses.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, someone could do a really good Silent Hill. Like, sell it to a different company. Like, anyone could make a great one. Like, Capcom made, you know, the Resident Evil 7. Like, really scary. Give it to Capcom. They might be able to do something with it. But rather, they'll be like, no, we'll just hold on to this forever. And every now and then, they release a collection. It'll be like, there's a 25-year collection for Castlevania, and it's got, like, the first 4 Castlevanias in it. They still do that, but that's, like, all they do.
Yeah. Or they add, like, bonus content or something to the pack.
But the news that came out about Konami was that they were doing internal restructuring. They were like, okay, we're restructuring, and the people were like, oh, you're not making games anymore? They're like, no, we're making games still.
We got pairs on the line. It's coming.
Yeah,
2022. It's coming.
I promise. I promise it's coming. And people were like, and I have a feeling that people went, like, some people were like, oh yeah, they're not dead, and others went, damn it.
Like anything but like pairs. I mean,
yeah, like that's all they make now. Because I mean, Hideo Kojima's left. I forgot it. Iga. I can't remember his first name, but Iga. He's the guy that made Castlevania. He's left. Made his own company. All the big, they've all left. They're working somewhere else. So like they don't have like any big names at Konami anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're like, they've burnt. And I remember this was the moment where like you know the Game Awards. Mm-hmm. So the Game Awards are like super corporate. It's mostly an advertising thing.
Yeah.
When Hideo Kojima was supposed to collect an award for Phantom Pain, he was supposed to collect an award, and then Jeff Keighley, the host, who's always like, he will never criticize any company. He's like, no, we're friends. Please keep contributing to our show. We need your money. He's like that, and he stands up and he's like, Konami would not allow Hideo Kojima to come. And the whole audience starts booing. And I'm just like, when Jeff Keighley, the guy who will bend over backwards to be like, EA's fine. Activision, they're good people. They're
making honest livings.
Crunch isn't that big a deal. You know, he's like that. He's like, no, we need to be nice to everyone. Like, he never criticizes. And he's like, nah, fuck this shit. Konami's cuck.
Yeah.
So Konami's dead. I don't know. So I think some people were like, oh yeah, maybe they'll come back. And others were like,
maybe this is the slow death. Maybe this is what they want. They want
maybe
to cut their losses and slowly move away. But because people are still purchasing stuff on PES or PES itself, it's money.
A few years back, I remember they announced there's going to be a new Metal Gear Solid thing, and everyone was excited, and it was a pachinko machine. It was just themed. And then also it was Silent Hill. People, a new Silent Hill. They're like, oh, it's fucking a slot machine. So they do that. They're just like, oh yeah, no, because they know it's a brand that sells. But I find it very weird that they'll be like, I'm gonna make.
It feels like they're abusing the licenses.
Yeah, it's weird. They're very strange. They don't seem to care about games anymore. Now we've moved on.
Well, if they go, they go. If they don't, hopefully they make something that's worth us playing it again.
But another fantastic company is Warner Brothers Interactive.
Oh, here we go.
And Warner Brothers, they made the Batman Arkham games. They made Shadow of Mordor. Those kind, and good games. Good games.
Solid games. Yes.
Solid, and then they were like, we're going to, because if anyone remembers if you asked me about this, there was a big fiasco when the second Mordor game came out. I think it was like Shadow of War, I think it was called. Yeah. And it was just full of microtransactions. And it tanked the game's reputation. Like the franchise, people were like, there's never going to be another one. Because they tanked it. And they decided to announce, they were like, we're going to be more focused on live action. Not live, on live service games from now on. Everyone just went.
So they're
gonna be like BioWare with what's that game called? Anthem.
Yeah.
They'll make games like Anthem.
It's actually weird. Like in the corporate mindset, it's the smartest decision to go down this route.
Yeah.
But I don't think I think what they do is they have a couple of people that sit in a room and go, "That's a good idea," because none of them want to lose their job.
Yeah.
They go, "That's a good idea."
The other thing that they do is they sit there and they go, "What's done really well? Some of these live service, they've done really well. Battle Royale. Let's all do a Battle Royale. Every single one of us, we're all going to copy Fortnite." Because they've made literally all the money that exists in the world. So,
do you know what was Battle Royale before Battle Royale? Last Man Standing.
Yeah, that was long ago though.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's the same concept.
Yeah, I mean, really, you can also be like, what's that? Hunger Games. It's also essentially a Battle Royale.
Yeah, but that's a movie.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, the idea has existed.
Yeah.
Last Man, it's just the idea of like, it's the last person surviving. It's King on the Hill. I think that was also a game mode.
Also Free for All.
Free for All.
That was like.
Yeah, but it like. When I just heard, I was like, You didn't learn your lesson.
No, not at all.
It was like when EA was like, we're gonna release, because they tanked the reputation of like their Star Wars games when they released Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it made it into mainstream news, and that's when you know that shit's gone bad.
But they learned a lesson. They fuck with Disney's profit margin.
Yes.
Nobody.
But then they released that.
That
what's
profit margin must be solid with Disney, and they got the fire lit underneath.
Yeah. Although they don't have the license anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that.
They got taken away. I think it's now Ubisoft. I think has it.
Yes.
The rapist company.
What?
Don't you know about that?
No.
They're great. Ubisoft is great. There was a huge expose. They've been covering up for sexual assaults. Abusers for decades, and then they put out a report being like, we are very sorry, because they're French.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, we are very sorry about all this stuff. We'll be better. The people who were the, rapey people, they're they've left. They still have their shares, which means that they profit still from the company, but they're not here anymore. And including like Michel Ancel, he's the guy that made Rayman. Mm-hmm. One of them. He's gone now.
Wow.
It was bad. So yes, so Ubisoft is not a great company. Also, they've lost a lot of people, and they keep making like 5 Tom Clancy games a year. So fuck them.
I mean, I like playing Siege.
Yes, well, Siege is like the one that seems to be that everyone loves.
I also love playing Tom Clancy's 6 Vegas 2.
Who knows? There's literally 8,000 Tom Clancy games, even though Tom Clancy himself is dead.
They're still publishing books. And like I said before, I like playing For Honor.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you ever watched the For Honor thing when For Honor was announced at E3 several years ago.
I didn't watch it when it was announced, but I did watch it.
So you saw the Viking man,
yes,
with his like beard and his cane, and he's like, "Ah, we're gonna make a game," and everyone was like, "This is great." I remember watching that and being like, "This man, whoever he is, needs to just advertise every game. He needs to come out, and he just needs to be like, Pikmin 4!"
You know, like
imagine.
You know, for me, Ubisoft has always been that. It's been distance from me. I mean, sure, a few of their games get to me.
Yeah.
You know, like I love the reboot of Rayman or the continuation.
They were fucking.
I love them.
Great.
I loved
and I like the Far Cry games.
I also enjoyed the Far Cry, except for I recently bought 5.
I still haven't played 5. I want to because it's Christians.
But that's the point. The problem I have with Far Cry 5 is that it's you have to take down 3 main people before you get to the last guy.
Yeah.
Right? And they all 3 feel the same. You have to destroy their stuff and ruin their plans for them to get to a certain meter.
But that's...
And then they knock you out and they kidnap you. Then they knock you out again and they kidnap you. And then they knock you out again and they kidnap you.
And
then you deal with them. So repetitive.
Ubisoft has a formula. You have to go and climb radio towers.
You don't have to do that anymore. They actually make a note of it.
Okay.
They actually say, you switch on one regular time and they say, no, you don't have to do it again.
Okay. Because then they're like, okay, and now you do the strongholds. There's always strongholds that you take out.
Yeah, they still got those.
They've always got that. They have like the RPG mechanics with the, you at first you can't like stab and drag, then you can and blah, 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 Mm-hmm. They do, it's Assassin's Creed, it's like the same.
But they've got fishing.
They got fishing now.
Yes.
Yes, like Stardew Valley.
And like you said, you get to kill radicalists. But the thing that gets me is that it's again where they take your controls away and you must just sit through the cinematic. And it's just preachy. And the thing is, it actually ends up pissing me off because now I know that I still have to go through 2 kidnaps.
Yeah.
Before I can deal with them.
Is it still when you fight the bad guy? Quick time event?
No.
Okay, because that was also their thing.
Yeah.
They were always like, for Vast, it's going to be a quick time event.
To their credit, they did learn from 4 that, people don't like these things.
Don't just copy 3.
Yeah. I mean, I personally, for me, the wildlife is less hostile towards you.
Okay.
I can walk past, I can run past a mountain lion and hopefully it won't attack me. Before, it doesn't matter what it was doing. If you ran past an animal, it would go for you, right?
Although in 4, I remember that they introduced the idea of bait, where you can throw meat into and I remember it was so overpowered because you just climb up onto like a roof and you just throw a bait, and then like a tiger just kills the whole thing, and you're like, that was easy.
One thing they did expand on is the compounds and fortresses. They did add more ways of getting in there. Personally, my one is I hop into a helicopter and I fire rockets at it. And if I don't have a helicopter that has rockets, I will simply just grab one of the heavily armored vehicles. Also, if you play the storyline, you unlock heavily armored vehicles that are not like one-time use. You can just go to the garage and reload it and reload it and reload it. And eventually, like, the problem I have is that they have so much diversity, but you're only going to stick to... Why would I... Unless I'm role-playing, why would I buy a vehicle with a gun when if I could just complete a quest, I get a vehicle with a gun?
I also always remember that it's a really unfair thing you could do because it feels like cheating the game. You just get a good sniper and you sit far away and you just kill everyone. They're running towards you and it doesn't classify them as seeing you. So you get the silent, like, killer... bonus, and you've just shot everyone from far away, and you're just like,
it is
because using snipers is too easy. I love playing with a sniper.
It is. I'm also using a bow. It's too easy.
Yeah, I like doing the. I go in with a bow and a machete.
The one thing that's nice is that you can hire people.
Okay, I didn't. That's a new thing.
So you've got companions now.
Yeah.
So say you're driving past a roadside and somebody's being held captive, you can free them, and if you're lucky enough, you can hire them.
Yeah.
And that's nice. And the thing is, you can hire somebody while playing co-op.
Okay, well, that's cool.
Now, co-op takes a new direction and makes it more fun, but at the same time, you stop by the speed bumps, by your control is taken away, you're captured. I mean, no matter what, you can actually be winning the battle.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a helicopter will come up, and you get shot once, and all of a sudden, you go down.
Yeah.
And you're like, but you've been doing perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You've made sure that your kills are quiet. And then also now this guy comes up and shoots you because you've reached enough points with this guy's aggro meter that now an event's going to happen. It's always knock you out, drag you someplace, monologue. And then you break out, you mess up some stuff.
Yeah.
And then...
The thing is, like, I think one thing that they've really learnt with Far Cry, though, is that they've really learnt how to have charismatic villains. They have, like, interesting villains. That like... Didn't you think that with 5? Because 4 still had a good villain, the main guy, I forgot his name. But he was still really interesting. He was still a copy of Voss.
Yeah, no,
but,
no,
I mean,
no.
Pagan Min. Pagan Min,
yeah, there we go. You see, if you take the whole radicalist out of the villain...
Yeah.
There's not much of a villain.
Really? Okay.
There's no substance because... He's just a religious radicalist that has formed this cult.
Yeah.
And he's trying to stage the takeover of the world from I don't know, what state are you in?
Yeah, I just know it's somewhere in America.
I think it's Nebraska. I'm not too sure. I could be.
Is there lots of wheat?
Yes.
Maybe it's Nebraska. That's Nebraska's most famous thing, wheat.
So and like. It's just like, what's his personality? He's religious, he's a cult leader, and he's insane.
Okay.
I mean, if like Voss was still questioning why he was a part of this, right?
Yeah.
Pagan Min kind of like he adapted to the situation he was put in and he made something of it.
Yeah.
This guy is just a preacher that got a big ego, had it all go to his head, and now.
Okay, so he's not as interesting as the other. But I still feel like all of them are trying to be Voss again. They're all trying to recapture the magic of Voss.
The one brother to this guy, really messed up. It's almost like they've tried to take a specific characteristic that made money, and they've put it into the siblings, and the main guy is kind of just crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like the game could have done so much better if they decided, fine, keep your knock me out 3 times before I get to defeat the villain. But do it differently. You know? How often is my high level character, now that I'm on the 3rd sibling, why would he fall for the same 3 knockout events?
Yeah.
Why can't, if I kill a sibling, why can't that impact what the other siblings would do to me? So if I go for the one sibling the first time, it's going to be a different reaction to if I've already taken out 1 or 2 of the siblings. No. You know, why couldn't it be like that? Well, but it was like copy paste for every. Well,
I'm hoping, because I don't know if you know who's the main villain for Far Cry 6.
Oh my man, yes.
I'm just like, I
just don't want it to just be.
Gus.
Him being the selling point. I don't want him being the only reason why I will buy and play that game.
The thing is, like, all of them, that's like the selling point is the villain. Like, they sold 3 on the villain, they sold 4 on the villain. They sold 5 on the fact that you're shooting Christians. Because they were like, we're edgy, and then it turned out it wasn't quite as edgy as everyone thought it was going to be.
Yeah. I mean, like, it dives hard into that doomsday America, you know?
Yeah.
Your caches on our doomsday prepper stashes.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Like, I don't get how they have how these people have spread throughout. It was so organized in their first attack.
Yeah.
But then they can't snub out the rebellion happening. Like sure, it's obvious because I know where the bases are and stuff. But like, it's almost felt like after it happened, it all became stagnant. They had this massive expansion across this valley, took over everything.
Yeah.
And then they stopped and waited for you to come along and kill them. They didn't do anything else.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's just...
well, hopefully it's good. Hopefully 6 is good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to 6.
The next news story is something I thought would just be of vague interest to you. They're making a Tomb Raider anime on Netflix. And I was just like, At first, I actually misread it at first. This is actually my main thing.
What?
Was it I thought it said it takes place before the events of the first game. And I was like, isn't the first game about how she becomes?
You read it?
And I was like, is this just like her in university? And then I was like, oh, it takes place after. Okay, well, I haven't played them. But I was just like, okay. But it's like they've been snapping up like.
It worries me though.
Yeah, I watched the Castlevania anime, and it's actually quite good. The first season was kind of shit, and then the second and third seasons were pretty good. They also made a Dragon's Dogma one, which I haven't seen because I haven't played Dragon's Dogma. But I mean,
with Tomb Raider, it's concerning. The reason being, it is Netflix. Netflix is known for doing a certain thing when there's certain political agendas at play here. Mm-hmm. So what I don't want them to do is to just take Lara Croft and give her the old Rey from Star Wars makeover, where they're impossibly too OP, and they're just putting it in that. Just the thing is, I believe that it doesn't matter what gender or race the main character is. I think what really matters is the story. If the person doesn't actually grow, doesn't actually have something that we can relate to, it's not going to be good. It doesn't matter because it almost has the Superman effect where you're not going to be worried about the character because you just know they're going to be fine. They're going to make it out because one way or another they're making it out. And I don't want them to do that with Lara Croft because the main thing about her is there is nothing special. She is well trained, and she's just done it all herself and built that up. Now, for you to just take it and just make it seem like, oh, it's just a given.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you remember the old Tomb Raider movies with
Angelina Jolie?
Yeah. Maybe it'll be something like that, sort of like a fun adventure type thing.
I hope so, because even then, even that Tomb Raider was more relatable. Yeah. I mean, what made the last two games so great is that they brought realism. You're not just someone that can shoot up everything and be fine. Yeah. There are certain things that even that you can't beat nature. Yeah. As gruesome as it was, you learned that there's certain things that you couldn't overcome, no matter how much you tried. Now, if they try to make it like that, I think that it will be really good. It'll be similar to almost like The Witcher in terms of how it translates nicely from game. But although Witcher came from books, Tomb Raider at least can come from game to cinema. Now, because it's an anime, it's a little bit of question again there. But my main concern is that they don't try to make it more than what it should be, because at the end of the day, we just want something to relate to, and we connect better with a character that is flawed than a character that just has everything, because we realize that we could actually do better just like they did to improve themselves. Yeah.
I haven't played those new ones. I played the old Lara Croft games, back in the day ones, the PS1 and PS2 games. So I don't really know what the character is like in these ones, but I know that they're much more brutal than the old ones. Like, I know the first one, she gets brutalized quite hectically. Like,
oh no, it's
like beating the shit out of her.
It's pretty intense, and that's what I liked about it, because it made it feel like you're surviving. You're not even with your skills and your training and your abilities, you're surviving. Yeah. The core thing about that is survival, because it makes her real. It makes her human and reconnected. That is a badass character, because we saw how weak she was. And then she becomes like fucking overpowered. So we see that, and that we can expect. Having a character Captain Marvel their way through a series or game is boring. It's like playing a game with God mode on. Why are you even playing the game? Yeah.
Although sometimes you do play it because you played it 4 times and you just want to play the story again. Oh, you didn't do that?
No.
I did that all the time.
No. See, I had an older brother, so he would do it for me.
Okay.
If it got difficult.
Okay, yeah. I don't have anyone older, I just have younger. So, are you ready for a blast from our past? So when we were in Matric, there was a dance that came out that was very big. Gangnam Style.
Oh, okay. I don't know why, for some reason I was. Yeah, okay.
It's now obviously in Fortnite, because of course it is. Every song must eventually be in Fortnite.
Wasn't it? I thought it was originally in Fortnite. Like, I thought that like it entered the game early.
Apparently only now, it seems. Which I was like, oh, okay. Because I every now and then I just hear news about Fortnite, and I'm like, well, I guess that's still plodding along. Because there was the whole thing where they used to steal dances from people. There was a whole big thing because a couple people like try to sue them for stealing it. Turk from Scrubs, he sued because they stole his dance. What's it, the nerdy brother in Fresh Prince? Mm-hmm. What was his name? Carlton?
Yeah,
I think. He also had like a dance that was stolen. I don't know. Epic seems to like stealing people's dances. And now I'm just like, did they get permission to get...
I understand that, but I think, like, when you become pop culture, I think your license should be free.
Well, I mean, to me, I'm like, when you think of the dancers, you're like, the chicken dance, YMCA.
Yeah, but that's when they didn't care about, like, oh, I can get money out of this.
Also, YMCA wasn't actually made by them. It was made up by, like, sort of... I think someone did it on stage, but it wasn't made for the song. It came back afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
interesting little factoid.
But back to Fortnite.
Back to Fortnite, which I've never played, but all of my students play because they're children.
There's this whole bad reputation of Fortnite.
Yeah.
Kids maxing out credit cards and things like that. And it's like, they're like, oh no, the game is so bad because they got these predatory microtransactions. I'm not trying to defend it.
Yeah.
In that case, I'm just saying, maybe if you watched your kid, I mean, would you allow your kid that is addicted to candy, for instance, would you allow them to take a credit card and run around the candy store?
One of the things though about a credit card, actually also a debit card, actually, is that if you were to steal it and just put in the details, you can get away with it.
I don't know about you, but I still have to fill in a one-time PIN.
For debit, yes, but I think credit cards you often don't.
And what I would do if I had a child that maxed up my credit card on Fortnite, I would not have a child playing Fortnite from that moment on. They would be reduced to etchy sketches for the rest of their childhood.
You can give them like a pencil.
No.
Another page.
No, they'll choke on it.
Okay, I'll choke on it.
If they're that stupid, they'll choke on it. Hopefully.
What's the worst game? Monopoly. They should play Monopoly by themselves.
Yeah, you will play Monopoly by yourself. No, I don't think I would ever allow my kid to handle my wallet.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Or my cell phone. I won't be a parent that will just give my cell phone.
I don't like anyone touching my card. I'm like, it's my card. I need it for important
I would
purchases.
Never.
I buy my groceries with it.
I would never allow it. No. But the thing is, I always think like, yeah, but your kid just maxed out your card and they bought these V-Bucks and everything. Like, yeah, but at the same time, what the fuck were you doing?
I have a student who says that he's like, oh yeah, no, his mom's credit card is still on his Fortnite, so he buys things, doesn't tell her, and I'm just like, this is fascinating. How do you not know your child's a little shit stealing your money? No. I mean, like, I understand the parent wanting to if the kid really like, what do you want for your birthday? And like, I want V-Bucks. I can understand that. Yeah.
And then you buy it. But thing is, now here's where it becomes a little bit like, it's convenience versus security.
Yeah.
Like, when they first released cards that could tap.
Yeah.
I was terrified. What's stopping them taking that machine and just putting it against your wallet? Boop. Approved. And you only find out about it because I get notifications on my phone when a transaction's made. Now, what I would do in that case is I would try to make a deal. Like, maybe there would be like, instead of connecting it right to the game, you could buy like gift cards.
Yeah, well, you can get those,
like Epic specific gift cards. So then, like Steam, instead of me putting my credit card details onto Steam, I would rather just buy someone a Steam gift card and then they upload the amount to their wallet.
Yeah.
So that can never. But then again, that's why it's predatory, because they don't have those options.
The thing is, I think also, is that a lot of parents are not particularly literate in games or technology in general. They don't know that you've got their credit card details and you're making purchases.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, that could also be part of it. I think a lot of them just don't know that their kids are stealing their money and all shit.
I mean, like, I have several friends that play Fortnite. One of them even streams it. And what I can say is that they haven't been playing it very often. But that's not the games. That's not because of the game or the politics behind it. It's simple. Here in South Africa, we cannot compete internationally. No. And there is no Fortnite South African local service.
Yeah,
which means that you're always playing overseas.
Yeah, you're playing like European service.
Yeah. And it means that no matter how good you are, you're still going to get stopped by that lag.
Yes.
And that's like the biggest problem. But I think what Fortnite did for the, I would say for almost like the casual competitive gamer was fantastic. They gave them a place where they can be. And if the game is still free, you can still enjoy it. Debatable pay to win. But you can still do pretty good if you hone your skills and you have the connection.
I think mostly it's just cosmetics, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where it becomes bad.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't, if you had to strip away that whole shop, people would still play the game. It's not the reason. The game is playable because it's a good game.
Yeah.
What makes it bad is how it exploits the community around it.
But that's also their entire business model.
Yeah.
So I think also you can get away with having monetary, like the predatory monetary things. When you're a free game, when you're a Star Wars Battlefront, and you decide, I'm going to do the same thing as Fortnite, but you have to first pay, $60.
Wasn't there a Call of Duty that also did that?
Probably.
That I kind of just told the people to go fuck themselves?
Probably. I mean, I don't know. You seem to get a lot of. There's a history of basically like people in the games industry basically saying fuck poor people and fuck people who don't have money. Do you remember the thing back? This is years ago when Xbox One was going to come out. Do you remember the whole catastrophe around that?
No.
They said they were like, okay, cool. The Xbox One's going to come out. It's going to be the best thing ever. Blah blah blah. Games get tied to your account.
So so you can't trade.
You can't trade games.
They're
like you can't trade games, and they were like, it has to be online 24/7. All these kind of things. And then when someone asked us, one of the head guys there, he said to him, "What about people who like don't have good connectivity?" And the guy, such a dick, was like, "There's something for people who don't have internet. It's called Xbox 360." And you're like, oh, you fucking wanker. You're a dickhead. It's just like, okay, so because you're born in a shit country that has bad internet, fuck you, basically. And then there was the whole thing with like PlayStation put out an ad saying, basically, this is how you trade games. And it was just like, he just passed him a game. And you're like, oh my God, whoever in marketing at Sony was like, we should do this.
Yeah,
that man deserves a raise.
Yeah. But it was a great idea to think of. I mean, you get a lot of the times where these companies will wait for another company to slip up and then, oh no, we don't do that here.
The way Yahtzee described it in Zero Punctuation, he said, Xbox came on stage and started stabbing itself with a sword over and over again, and Sony came on and were like, we're not going to do that. And so they won.
No.
But like that's kind of, game companies. They're great. And also, speaking of beautiful game companies, a game company that I don't even know if they've released a single game.
Oh, they have. I know exactly what you're talking about. They have.
Have they? Amazon.
Yeah. Amazon released I
think they released a game and they pulled it off afterwards.
A hero shooter.
Yeah.
That released, and I think like a month or two afterwards was pulled because no one was playing it.
I remember something like that.
But they pulled it, saying that they're going to work more on it.
Yeah.
The biggest problem is that they wanted to throw their hat into a community that already had its champions.
We already had Overwatch.
I mean, it's not just Overwatch. It was Overwatch. It was Paladins. There was what's the other one? I can't think of it now. I mean, you can even classify Team Fortress as a hero shooter.
Yeah. No, but I can't think of a game that's actually like.
And then you come in with heroes without stories. Like the reason why Overwatch hits hard is because they were all unique characters. They all had their own story, all had their own background.
I have never played Overwatch, but I've watched every single cinematic because they're brilliant. There was a hero shooter where the primary thing was rocket launchers. I can't remember its name now. There was,
but that one also failed because it had nothing else interesting besides rocket launchers.
I think.
Do you know what else was successful that had rocket launchers? Unreal Tournament.
Okay, I was going to say Quake, but close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's. But can you think of a game that they've actually released that's still on the market?
Who?
Amazon.
No.
That's just that one.
Yeah.
Because a report came out on Bloomberg. He's a really, really good investigative journalist named Jason Schreier, and he demolishes he's the one who did the expose on how Anthem was fucked.
Yeah.
And he found all the stuff. Was it? I think it was him. It was him and someone else. But they. Amazon is just poorly run. It's run by people who've never released a game.
No.
It's
that's the thing. It was a studio that was formed to make money.
Yeah.
And they said, what is the hottest trend right now in gaming, and how do we get into it? Just because they have artists and devs that can put something together, but if it's not thought of,
and Bezos' money.
Thing is, that's where a little bit of Blizzard comes in with Overwatch. Is that they added depth to it first of all by adding characters, and then they still made it fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They made it so that people would come back and play it. Amazon, I feel, was just trying to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
I mean, why Amazon needs to make a quick buck is beyond me. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not like they're in dire straits.
Yeah.
You know?
But it was just really, because every night I forget that Amazon is making games. I forget this all, and then I hear something about Amazon Game Studios, and I'm like, oh yes, I forgot they're trying to make a game.
Well, if we're talking about Amazon Game Studio, right? You also you have to address the elephant in the room, or the giant chicken in the room when it comes to unexpected game releases and consoles that can heat up your meal. Yes, I'm talking about KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders.
You know, when I saw that news story, they're like, "Oh, we're going to make a console and it heats up your food." And my first thing was,
I'm going to forget.
My first thing was do they know that machines aren't supposed to run that hard? Because they're not.
My thing is this. Someone designed this console, KFC was we need a console. Someone's I got an idea. It's not really a console as much as it is a small computer.
Yeah, it's supposed to be still a PC.
So yeah, you got that. They're but you know what's really fucked up? Is that this thing overheats, and the guy's you know what? I've got a great idea. Why don't we sell the overheating as a feature? Let's put it on a grill.
You know, but KFC's been interesting lately because they made a game last year or the year before that. So I mean, they've been apparently getting into games, which on list of companies you expect to make a game, KFC is not the first one I think of.
I mean, no, but it happens.
Yeah.
I mean,
also, actually, that KFC game was kind of hilarious. It's still a piece of bullshit marketing, but it was basically you're trying to have sex with sexy Sanders, and that sounds great to say.
Yeah, it really crisps up your chicken, doesn't it?
It does crisp your chicken. You slap two thighs, you batter them, and you put them in your mouth.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
That is how. I mean, usually you pick the batter up, you pick the whole thigh up, and you. Okay. Anyway, next week is our sex column. And the last news story, which is to me the best one, because it's great and it took me 5 days to understand it, was GameStop and its stocks. It's still really strange story. So now you know a bit about it, but not not too much. So the idea...
I know stonks.
You know stonks, yeah. It's become a whole thing. So the idea was they were like, okay, cool. We're going to get these basically hedge funds. So people with lots of money. They were like, GameStop is doing badly. So for people, we're not Americans, but GameStop is, in like South Africa's BT Games, in the UK, there's Game. It's a game retailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were like, game retailers aren't doing so well anymore because, you know, the internet exists. So they were like, we're going to basically buy stocks, but we're expecting them to get weaker and weaker. And it's a thing called short stocks or short selling. And the idea is that basically you buy stocks and then you sell them to someone with the promise that you're going to buy them back, and you're like contractually obligated to buy them back. But the idea is that I'm going to sell it to you for $10. It's going to go down to $5. I'm going to buy it back for $5, which means I've made $5. That's the business.
So it's reverse.
It's reverse. Yeah. They want the company to fail. The best thing that can happen is like the company reaches like zero, because then you get the full money back, kind of thing. You're getting the stocks back for zero. It's like super predatory. It's horrible. So a bunch of people on Reddit decided we're going to start buying GameStop stock. And then the share price was $4 when it started. One share was $4. So it's really low. And they've pushed it up. The last time I saw it was over $300 per share. They shot it up. So that means
GameStop had to pay them.
Well, it's not GameStop, it's the investors.
Okay, yeah.
These shitheads. So basically, think about like, it's cost $4. So I sold it to you for $4. Now I'm going to have to buy it back. Oh shit, it's now suddenly shot up to $300. I now have to pay you $300 to buy it back. They tanked, I think, 2 hedge funds. It was over like $2 billion or something. Because there's no upward fail limit. The more expensive the stock gets, the more you lose.
Yeah.
So it's literally the riskiest thing ever. So these people are fucking over these like Wall Street people who are just now like, regular people shouldn't be allowed to do stocks. So it has been a very funny.
And then on the other side, you got those mobile applications with the algorithms that do the stocks for you.
Exactly. No. It's been really funny because now like the government is trying in the States. The government is like looking at, or you know, the hedge funds are like, no, we need to like put in restrictions to stop random people who aren't us
making money.
So that it's just really funny because it's like you thought you'd fuck over a company that's dying, and now you're getting fucked. So it's just the funniest thing, and it isn't very often that like I had to learn about the stock market for this.
No, I don't know anything about the stock market. I'm not even going to pretend to know anything about it.
But it's I didn't know anything, and then I read so many articles and stuff, and I finally was like, and I listened to a podcast that had a financial advisor on it explaining on it, and I was like, and once it clicked, I was like, oh my god, those Redditors are brilliant.
Geniuses. Absolute geniuses.
But it's just funny because they thought, oh, we're gonna watch this company die and make money off of it, and it didn't work. And it's been done.
It's kind of like The Producers. That's a Mel Brooks movie. Yeah. Yeah.
I saw a live version of it. It was great.
This is great.
Oh, it was so good. So good. But yeah, it's pretty much like just completely fucked over these people, and it's so funny. It's essentially the same thing as in The Producers. Like they're banking on it failing, and then it succeeds. And they're like, oh, fuck. And it's I was so happy to see it. Now you just see all the people on like Twitter just being like about these hedge fund people failing. It's just been a beautiful. It's just been beautiful.
It's a beautiful outcome,
It's a beautiful outcome. But I'll have to see what happens. Maybe now legislation gets put in and poor people aren't allowed to do stocks anymore. You never know.
It's actually very likely.
Because they have to save the rich people.
Yes,
It's the only real human beings on the planet are the rich. The Bezoses and the Musks. The Bezai. The Gates. That's just Gates. We need to save them because their lives are more important than poor people.
I mean, when you pay someone's salary, it kind of is.
Yeah, well, they don't really pay individual salaries. They just sit at the top and go, I have all the money. I'm Bezos. And now Musk is richer than me. Fuck.
Yeah, hey, how about that? Hey, people were talking shit about him, like not even being the CEO of Tesla, and then all of a sudden, here he is again. Yeah.
That's funny. But anyway, eat the rich. And I think that's pretty much all the news. I think.
You think?
I think. I mean, I'm sure there's more news, but not on my list.
And definitely not today.
Not today. Maybe. Well, yeah. It's a weekend. Whenever it's weekend, the industry dies. It just shuts down for 2 days, and then it comes back.
Yes. Yes, because it's mandatory.
Not all industries do that. Pick and Pay, retail.
Don't talk to me about Pick and Pay.
Never, ever shuts down. They'll work on Christmas. They'll work on Easter. They'll work on more important days like, I don't know, the 23rd of Feb. Just a day they would like to have off. So anyway.
Are you a bit sour there?
I'm always sour.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you worked as a waiter once. And in a video store.
Yes. The video store where we were told that it will last forever.
It'll last forever. And
that'll
also,
beat Netflix.
It'll beat Netflix because with Netflix you also have to pay for the internet.
Very
and as
expensive.
We know, you only have the internet for Netflix.
No. You must also pay for your telephone line. Remember?
You have to pay for your telephone line, which also you'll never use. Yeah,
exactly. Here you could rent a scratch DVD for a couple of bucks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You could get a scratch DVD, and then if you're late by, depending on who's there that day, the return time will change. If it's someone nice, they'll let you go for a couple of hours, and if it isn't, it'll be a minute over. Anyway, that's why I don't do that.
Well, good news is if you knew the boss, you could just get your account wiped, clean slate, and all of that.
True. But anyway, now that should be our show, I believe.
Are we concluding?
I think we're concluding.
Oh, then let's conclude. Thank you everybody for watching. Our first episode, our first try, our first run at this.
Yes.
Hopefully we improve. First of all, the first thing we're going to improve is try to bring relevance to our conversations rather than just jabber on like a bunch of...
we did talk about the news, which is relevant.
Yeah.
The stocks are hilarious.
Yeah. I guess that concludes the 2 Cents Report. I've been Tristan.
I've been Justin.
And we wish you a good day.
I love you.